On Holmes, Ashburton's Bentley's family and their long agonising wait for news on the fate of their daughter. How does a family cope? Where do they draw their strength? And the pain that loving parents have gone through. We also hear a poem of hope written by Kirsty's friends.
So now that I'm standing here waiting for you to return, I wonder why you've gone away. I wish that you would return.
Also tonight, should the Māori activist who reduced Helen Clark to tears be officially escorted to the Prime Minister at this year's Waitangi Day commemoration? Te Whai Harawira answers her critics. Plus stress, a hidden killer crippling our workforce, costing us millions, and is going to get a lot worse.
Dealing with that is illness. We're going to have the new millennium as the age of depression.
Good evening. Today was Kirsty Bentley's birthday. She would have been 16. Kirsty had planned a pool party at her home in Ashburton with her mum and dad and a whole bunch of schoolmates. Even when she went missing 2.5 weeks ago, the party was still on. Kirsty would have wanted it that way, they said. Now, though, it's off. A body's been found, still not confirmed it's Kirsty, but it looks pretty likely tonight. The party's cancelled and Kirsty's mother and father didn't want to talk to anyone today. They simply couldn't face it. They'd been on national television, on the radio and in newspapers every day for the past 2.5 weeks. Today, very understandably, they wanted their privacy and we respect that. Last Friday, though, Vicky Wilkinson-Baker spent the day with the Bentley family. They were brave and cautiously optimistic. Here's Vicky's report.
For 2.5 weeks, this was the pattern.
Good morning. 15 days on and police are no closer to finding missing Ashburton teenager Kirsty Bentley.
For everyone involved, it's been a dark mystery.
Inquiry head Detective Senior Sergeant Lance Corcoran says the team is still trying to clarify Kirsty's movements.
For police, there were few clues.
We have a young lady who we simply don't know what's happened to her.
And for Ashburton itself, disbelief.
When it happens on their own doorstep, the community, yes, they're a little bit stunned by it all.
For the Bentley family, it was a long, agonising wait, hoping for the best, but fearing the worst. The day after Kirsty disappeared, they found her dog Abby. But of their daughter, there was no sign. There was an understandable feeling of helplessness.
Not knowing what to do from one moment to the next.
There was an outpouring of sympathy and support from around New Zealand, including the Smart and Hope families of Blenheim, who'd endured the same hurt, the same despair last New Year.
I tried very much to understand how it must be for them. And I had a feeling of treasuring our own two that much more and wanting to hold them tight. And
normally Kirsty would walk the dog along this riverbank, along these tracks. Now her brother John is doing it.
She loved that dog, didn't she?
Oh, virtually inseparable. Although it was a family dog, it was more Kirsty's than the rest of us. In its own quiet way, I think the dog's sort of missing Kirsty quite badly too.
The police needed a breakthrough.
After 2 weeks, what have we got? What definite clues have you got?
Clues as to what's happened to Kirsty, nothing. We just simply do not know what's happened to her.
Tied up around here in quite a flattened area.
The discovery of Kirsty's dog tethered to a tree and her underwear did not help the police inquiry. There was talk the evidence was planted and police were very careful about what they said.
Although those items were there, it doesn't really tell us exactly what did happen.
Do they raise more questions than they answer?
That's correct. Yes, there's still a lot of questions that aren't answered through those finds.
As the investigation continued without any apparent success, the rumour mill started up. First, there was a suggestion Kirsty had run away. Her dad was adamant.
The only thing I feel fairly sure of in my own mind is that she was taken against her will.
Then more pain and anguish for Kirsty's parents. Just yesterday, they were forced to publicly defend their son against rumours he could have been involved with her disappearance. For the last 2.5 weeks, this was the routine.
Hello. How are we? Cool.
A visit to a family desperate for news, any news, and no news to give them.
Is it hard going round to see the family day after day with nothing concrete to tell them?
I usually have something to tell them in terms of what we've been doing throughout the course of the day, what our plan is for the next day, but I've certainly not had that information to give them as to where Kirsty is or what's happened to Kirsty, and that's hard for them.
Because that's all they want to hear, isn't it?
I'm sure that's all they want to hear.
They would talk about routine checks, the places they'd searched, the people whose cars they'd checked. It's been thorough, it's been painstaking, but it was not what the Bentleys wanted to hear.
I feel like the only time it's of any real benefit is if he has Kirsty in his arms.
For them, the uncertainty's been the hardest part.
You can deal with what you know of, but trying to deal with the unknown is mission impossible.
Throughout the ordeal, Kirsty's schoolmates visited the Bentley home, supporting each other, all hoping that one day Kirsty would return. Another of Kirsty's friends wrote Sid and Jill a poem.
I do not need a special day to bring you to my mind. A day without a thought of you is very hard to find. I know that someday we will meet again. So now that I'm standing here waiting for you to return, I wonder why you've gone away. I wish that you would return. Oh, I didn't do that very well today.
Throughout their ordeal, Sid and Jill Bentley have just been wonderful to deal with, willing, courageous and forever hopeful. We'll just wish it could be turning out differently for them. Now, police have set up a 24-hour toll-free information line. The number is 0800 Kirsty. That's 0800 54 7789. Now, police say it is even more vital people with information come forward. First, they need to confirm Kirsty's movements on New Year's Day. Did she walk the dog that afternoon, and where did she go? They want to talk to all motorists in the vicinity of the Ashburton River the same afternoon. Police also want to contact anyone in the Rakaya Gorge area around New Year's Eve. That toll-free information line number, just once more, it's 0800 Kirsty, 0800 54 7789. Later, the silent killer, it's stress and it's stripping our profits and crippling the workforce. Next, though, Te Whai Harawira. 1 minute, a Māori protester who reduced Helen Clark to tears. Next, cuddling up to Jenny Shipley. Mrs Harawira wants to be the PM's minder, her treaty partner at the Waitangi commemoration. Jim Anderton says it's simply a political ploy to make Helen Clark look silly. Is Mrs Harawira plotting? Can she be trusted? Mr Anderton says no. Te Whai Harawira and Alliance leader Jim Anderton, they are live after the break. Te Whai Harawira, the Māori protester who reduced Helen Clark to tears at the Waitangi Day commemorations last year. You'll remember this.
I am very firm about taking second place to men's games. It's not about your message, it's about the way in which our men decide you woman, or you woman will not be anything.
That was just part of the speech. Afterwards, Helen Clark, visibly upset, she wiped her eyes and had to seek comfort from people around her. Now, Te Whai Harawira offering to hold Mrs Shipley's hand at the same event. What's changed? Is this the same Mrs Harawira? Are there fish hooks in this offer, as the leopard, as they say, changed its spots? Mrs Harawira wants to escort the PM at a forum the day before the commemorations. Mrs Shipley is still thinking about it. She confirms, though, that Mrs Harawira will certainly play a role. The Alliance is outraged. Jim Anderton simply can't believe it, says it's all making Labour leader Helen Clark look silly. Mrs Harawira joins us now, as does Jim Anderton in Christchurch. Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Kia ora, Susan.
Jim Anderton, if I can start with you, I mean, what do you mean this is designed to make Helen Clark look silly?
Well, before we do that, Susan, can I just say that I want to express the deepest sympathy from every New Zealand family to Kirsty Benson and her family.
Kirsty Bentley, indeed.
Bentley, I'm sorry, on this very sad day. I don't think we could let that go. Just let me say that
Thank you,
this is
and
a very...
I would like to do likewise, Susan.
Kia ora, Te Whai.
Kia ora.
I just think that the Waitangi celebrations or commemorations are a very important matter for all New Zealanders, Māori and Pākehā. I have personally never been to Waitangi. In most of my adult life, there just seems to be so many hassles about it that I've thought it's a good place to keep away from. But earlier this year, I made a decision, well before the government
But if I can cut in here, because, I mean, what is wrong with Mrs Harawira? You have objected to her. making a partnership with the Prime Minister, being there beside her. What's wrong with it? What's your objection to it?
Titify can do whatever she likes. She's a well-respected protester, no question about that, and she has the freedom and right to speak her mind, and she does, and I respect her for that. But last year, she took a stand, which I actually support in terms of Maori women having a right to speak on the marae, but that's a question between Titify and other Maori women and their men, and they should sort that out. Helen Clark was invited to speak. Now, Titify made an issue of that in front of Helen Clark, and it seems to me that she's now being used, whether she realises it or not, she's simply being used by the Prime Minister to score a couple of points, and I think the Treaty of Waitangi commemorations and celebrations are well above that. But Mrs. Shipley is about as far removed from the things that Titify has claimed to stand for as Martians.
Let's just bring Mrs. Huddle in, because I can see her rearing up in her seat ready to speak.
Well, if you take up this challenge of Titify, she's really just using it.
Are you being used and are you scoring some points for Mrs. Shipley?
First of all, I want to say that, what Jim Anderson is saying is that I don't have a brain to think for myself, which is totally wrong. Nobody uses me. At a collective meeting in Whangarei before Christmas, the elders and the commemoration committee and all of those who will be working for Waitangi this year had a meeting, and Jenny Shipley was present, and I said to her, as her treaty partner, I would like her to come back to Waitangi, her and her cabinet. I would like her to make a commitment for the first time from government to sit and listen to the people at the forum, and then after we've had the forum and workshops on the 5th, to be there on Waitangi Day. And she has accepted that.
And what do you offer her in return?
I'm offering a partnership that we sit together, we walk together, we walk through the day together as treaty partners.
Because what has changed from last year? I mean, you did reduce Helen Clark to tears. She told me personally she was frightened. She was intimidated. I mean, why would Mrs. Shipley want to trust you?
Nothing has changed, Susan. Nothing. Every year we've asked the politicians to come and listen to the people. The forums, the political forums that are held at Waitangi are an opportunity for people to talk about treaty issues in their hapu and their iwi. And we've always asked for the government to come and listen, not to come in and score points, political points or votes. Waitangi Day is not about that. It's about the treaty. They've never listened, and in making that offer to Jenny Shipley, I'm saying, come and listen, and she's accepted it.
You've been invited to listen, Mr. Anderton?
Well, no, I made a decision to go well before the Prime Minister did, and she talks about, Jenny Shipley talks about consulting with political leaders. Well, I haven't been consulted. But I just want to say to Titify that, again, you are putting yourself in the middle of all this, and you don't have to do that, and in my view, you shouldn't. You have a right to ask us to listen like all other Maori, and I don't think that you, Titify, represent the mainstream of Maori opinion. You represent an important stream of it. But to put yourself in this position where you are offering to be the mentor and guide of the Prime Minister, and to watch her consider seriously whether she takes that up or not, you are astute enough to know that you are simply being used. Now, whether you knew you would be or whether you thought you would be, I don't know. But you simply are being used against Helen Clark. That's all that's happening here.
No, that's not true, Jim, and you know that. And
no,
if you
I don't.
understand
I wouldn't be saying it otherwise.
If you understand anything about the protocol on the marae, during the porphyry, that is the domain of the men, and I'm happy for that to be that. But if they're going to give away that very tapu area to Pākehā women that we don't use, then I'm going to take it off the men. It's as simple as that. And I asked Helen Clark, as a woman, don't allow the men to play this game and divide us as women. She didn't accept that. She chose to use it as an opportunity for political votes.
Which is the point that Mr. Anderton is making. Mrs. Shipley may be doing the same, using it for votes.
No, she's not.
What's the difference?
No, she's not.
What's the difference?
The difference is I have invited her as my treaty partner. I am her treaty partner. I'm saying, as people, we need to sit down this year and talk to one another, walk through the treaty issues together. We are now talking about constitutional change in this country. We've already had a national hui about that. There's another follow-up of that on the 28th of February. Let's put all of these things on the table.
But you want more than listening, don't you, Mrs. Harawira? You want action from the Prime Minister.
I'm asking that they listen first of all and then go back and consider the issues that have been put to them for the first time, that they are now going to sit and listen.
Well, I put it to you.
How can it be political points doing that, Mr. Anderton? I mean, Mrs. Harawira approached Mr. Shipley. It wasn't the other way around.
I would just say to you this, Titify and Susan, that if it hadn't been for what happened to Helen Clark last year and Titify's role in that, Jenny Shipley wouldn't be coming within a barge pole's distance of Titify Harawira.
That's
and
not
that
true,
is the reality
Jim.
of it. Well,
no,
I have to say
true.
that is my absolute conviction, and I believe that the commemoration in Waitangi needs all of the significant political leaders there, including Helen Clark. And I just say to you, Titify, if you didn't know, you were going to make it very difficult for Helen Clark by making these approaches to Jenny Shipley, and I know well enough how these are now being used, and you can see it clearly, then you've made it very difficult for that rapprochement to take place.
That's
and I think
not
it's
true.
so important that you just should have kept out of it.
Yes,
if you really wanted it, you should have kept out of it.
The official committee is sending invitations to all the party leaders. That they have already gone out to all the party leaders. That includes Helen Clark. It's not about playing politics. It's about treaty partners walking the talk together.
Titify Harawira, Jim Anderton, thank you both for your time this evening. All right, Deputy Labour leader Michael Cullen, Labour MP Trevor Mallard led the charge, of course, over the weekend on this, but when party leader Helen Clark arrived home from overseas today, she refused to be interviewed. She said she needed to get her head around the issue and she wouldn't let anyone else from Labour talk either. Well, coming up next for you, we have a hidden killer. It's costing our country millions, crippling our workforce. Could it be the plague of the new millennium? Stress and dealing with it in a couple of minutes.